Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I want to talk to you about something powerful, something that determines whether a person spends life surviving or spends life succeeding. Let me begin with this thought. Success does not happen by chance, and failure does not happen by luck. Both are built quiet daily through habits. If you stay with me till the end of this message, you will discover the difference between people who merely wish and those who truly win. You will learn why some people rise no matter where they start, while others stay exactly where they are. And if you apply what you hear, even gently at first, it can transform your life, your income, your relationships, and your future. So stay with me because your life deserves this conversation. Success has a fascinating truth behind it. It never arrives suddenly and it never falls from the sky. It is not the lightning strike that people imagine. Instead, it is more like the sunrise, slow, consistent, predictable, and the result of steady progression. The ultra-successful understand something most people ignore. Your future is quietly being shaped every single day by the small disciplines you either practice or neglect. Think about it. No one wakes up wealthy, knowledgeable, confident, disciplined, healthy, emotionally strong, or mentally sharp by accident. These qualities are crafted. They are earned through daily actions that seem small in the moment but build massive results over time. The world often sees the final outcome, the car, the business, the confidence, the respect, the influence, and calls it luck. But what the world never witnesses are the mornings of commitment, the hours of study, the choices to stay disciplined when it was easier not to. Small disciplines are powerful because they compound. 5 minutes of learning a day does not feel like much. Reading 10 pages does not seem life-changing. Writing one paragraph of your book feels insignificant. Practicing gratitude for a moment feels simple. Choosing to save instead of spend feels ordinary. Exercising for 15 minutes doesn't look impressive. But here is a rule of life. What is small and consistent eventually becomes powerful and undeniable. Success is never about dramatic gestures. It is about daily obedience to your future. Ultra-successful people have learned to fall in love with the daily process, not just the final dream. They understand that habits shape destiny. If you repeat excuses, you build failure. If you repeat discipline, you build greatness. If you repeat laziness, you build regret. If you repeat intentional effort, you build a life you are proud of. They also recognize that discipline is not about perfection. It is about direction. You do not need to transform your life overnight. You simply need to move in the right direction every day. Progress is not loud. Discipline is not glamorous. Growth is rarely celebrated. But these quiet commitments are what separate those who wish from those who win. Another powerful truth is that daily discipline protects your future from becoming controlled by weakness. Without discipline, emotions make decisions. Without discipline, comfort destroys opportunity. Without discipline, fear stops progress. But with discipline, your life is driven by purpose instead of excuses. Ultra-successful people also understand accountability to themselves. They develop a strong internal promise. When they say they will do something, they do it not because someone is watching, but because it aligns with who they want to become. Integrity with yourself is the foundation of discipline. When you trust yourself, you build power. When you break commitments to yourself repeatedly, you weaken your spirit. Discipline strengthens identity. And here is the beauty of small disciplines. They build confidence. Every time you do something difficult, you prove to yourself that you are capable. Confidence is not a personality trait. It is a reward for discipline. Every disciplined day tells your mind, I am reliable. I can depend on myself. I am someone who builds, not someone who waits. So the question is never, can I be successful? The real question is, am I willing to build the daily habits that success requires? Your future is not waiting on luck. It is waiting on discipline. One small commitment done today, repeated tomorrow, protected the next day, and honored the day after. That is how success grows quietly until one day it is visible to everyone. Success is never accidental. It is constructed one disciplined day at a time. Every truly successful life begins in one place, the mind. Before success shows up in your bank account, before it appears in your achievements, and long before the world recognizes it, success first takes root in your personal philosophy. Your personal philosophy is the story you tell yourself about life, what you believe is possible, what you accept as true, and the standards you choose to live by. It becomes the invisible architect of your future. Most people never realize this. They think life is determined by circumstances, by luck, by background, or by opportunities given by others. But ultra-successful people understand that those factors may influence life, yet they do not define it. What truly defines life is the philosophy we live with daily. Your philosophy controls how you respond to challenges. When difficulty comes, some people say, this is the end. Their philosophy is defeat. Others say this is a lesson. Their philosophy is growth. Same storm, different mindset, completely different outcomes. Your philosophy also determines how high you allow yourself to rise. If your inner belief says, I am not capable, I am not worthy, I am not good enough, life will quietly follow that script. Opportunities appear only to those who believe they deserve to see them. Confidence is built on belief, and belief is built on philosophy. Ultra-successful people carefully design the story they tell themselves. They refuse to live by weak thinking. They challenge limiting ideas. They upgrade their beliefs constantly. They ask better questions. What can I learn? How can I improve? What is the opportunity inside this difficulty? How can I become more valuable? This mindset is not wishful thinking, it is strategic thinking. Your thoughts become decisions, your decisions become actions, your actions become habits, and your habits shape your destiny. Everything returns to the way you think. Consider this. One says, this will never work for me. The other says, if I try, learn, adjust, and try again, this might change my life. One remains stuck, the other begins to rise. Not because life chose differently for them, but because their philosophy did. A powerful philosophy does not deny reality, it simply refuses to surrender to it. It says, yes, life is hard. Yes, success requires sacrifice. Yes, failure hurts. But I also believe growth is possible. I believe effort matters. I believe discipline works. I believe my future can be better than my present if I build it correctly. Your philosophy also controls your standards. Average thinkers accept average effort. Ultra-successful thinkers expect excellence from themselves. They refuse to live casually. They refuse to waste time. They refuse to lower their life to match comfort. Instead, they continually elevate their standards to match their dreams. Your personal philosophy influences your relationships, your finances, your health, your work ethic, and your vision. It shapes what you tolerate and what you refuse to tolerate. It determines whether you give excuses or take responsibility. It controls whether you shrink from life or step forward with courage. And here is the truth: your philosophy is not fixed. It can be rewritten. It can evolve. It can grow stronger. You can choose empowering thoughts over limiting ones. You can choose possibility over hopelessness. You can choose discipline over laziness. You can choose to think like someone who is building a meaningful life. So the question is not, what is happening in my life? The real question is, what philosophy is guiding my life? Change your thinking and you change your life. Strengthen your beliefs and you strengthen your future. Design a powerful philosophy and life will eventually rise to meet it. Your mind is the foundation. Build it strong because your future is standing on it. Time is one of the most powerful forces in life, yet it is also the most misunderstood. Everyone is given the same 24 hours. Billionaires do not get more. Legends did not receive extra. Champions were not handed bonus hours. What separates the ultra-successful from everyone else is not how much time they have, but how they choose to use it. Time is the great equalizer of destiny. It does not care about age, background, education, family situation, or circumstances. It quietly moves forward with or without your permission. The difference is simple. Some people spend time while ultra-successful people invest it. Most people treat time casually. They waste hours as if they have endless supply. They fill their days with distractions, scrolling, complaining, procrastinating, and drifting. They live as if tomorrow is guaranteed and as if opportunity will always wait for them. But time is not patient. Time does not stop for indecision. Every wasted day is not just lost time, it is lost potential. Ultra-successful people live with a very different philosophy. If it matters to my future, it deserves my time today. They understand that the quality of their life is directly connected to the quality of how they use their hours. They guard their time. They protect their schedule. They say no to things that steal growth. They do not let unimportant activities invade important goals. They do not allow other people's priorities to constantly override their own purpose. They plan, they organize, they structure. They ask, how can I use today to become better than I was yesterday? This mindset is powerful because time behaves like a currency. When you spend it wisely, it multiplies into progress, skills, opportunities, income, confidence, and success. When you waste it, you do not just lose minutes, you lose progress, potential, and future strength. Ultra-successful people also understand the value of now. They do not wait for the perfect moment, perfect mood, perfect motivation, or perfect situation. They start where they are, they use what they have, they do what they can. They know that opportunity rarely waits, it responds to action. They are intentional about their mornings because the beginning of the day often decides the tone of the entire day. They are intentional about evenings because reflection, review, and planning strengthen tomorrow. They are intentional about learning time, growth time, work time, rest time, and relationship time. They live by design, not by default. Another powerful truth is that ultra-successful people do not let emotions control their time. They do not only work when they feel like it. They understand that feelings are temporary, but results are permanent. Discipline is choosing what matters most over what feels comfortable now. They master consistency by mastering time management. They also eliminate the illusion that I will do it someday. Someday is not on any calendar. Ultra-successful people trade vague intentions for scheduled actions. If it is important, it gets a time and date. If it stays someday, it usually disappears forever. And something amazing happens when you begin to master time. Life slows down in the right way. Stress reduces. Clarity increases. Confidence builds. Progress becomes visible. You begin moving toward your goals instead of merely dreaming about them. Time is not something to kill. It is something to respect. The question is not whether you have enough time, The question is whether you are using the time you have in a way that honors your future. If you treat time casually, life will give you casual results. If you treat time seriously, life will reward you seriously. Master your time and you begin to master your life. Success is never achieved in isolation. Even the strongest individuals, the most disciplined minds, and the most determined hearts are shaped by the environment they live in and the people they choose to keep around them. Ultra-successful people understand a truth that many ignore. Who you surround yourself with has a direct influence on who you become. Your environment is not just a place. It is a force. It shapes your thinking, influences your behavior, and silently sets the standards for your life. If you spend most of your time around people who complain, you will begin to complain. If you sit with people who make excuses, excuses will slowly feel normal. If you stay among those who doubt, fear, and never take action, your dreams will begin to shrink to match their comfort zones. That is why ultra-successful people are intentional, deeply intentional, about the company they keep. They surround themselves with people who believe in growth, improvement, excellence, responsibility, learning, and progress. They seek out minds that think bigger, people who encourage ambition instead of criticizing it, individuals who talk about ideas instead of gossip, and those who strive for something greater rather than settling for average living. They know that association is powerful. Association builds mindset. Mindset builds habits. Habits build destiny. Growth-oriented people challenge you. They do not let you stay comfortable with mediocrity. They remind you of your potential. They question your excuses. They push you when you slow down and celebrate you when you rise. They do not envy your progress. They inspire more of it. Ultra-successful people often say that one of the greatest investments you can make is in choosing the right relationships. Who you listen to matters. Who you learn from matters. Who you spend your free time with matters. You become like the environment you consistently place yourself in. Think about a powerful truth. You cannot expect to live an extraordinary life while surrounding yourself with ordinary thinking. You cannot aim for excellence while spending most of your time with people who are comfortable with average effort. You cannot develop a champion mindset while living in a circle that fears discipline, growth, and accountability. If your environment does not challenge you, it will eventually weaken you. Growth-oriented people bring energy. They bring perspective. They bring wisdom. They bring encouragement. They make improvement feel normal. They make ambition feel natural. They make progress feel expected. Sometimes this requires difficult decisions. It may require reducing time with people who constantly drain your spirit. It may require stepping away from friendships that do not align with your future. It may require being brave enough to move toward people who are ahead of you instead of staying safe with people who keep you small. Ultra-successful people understand that elevation often requires separation. They also know how to contribute to their environment. They do not only take inspiration, they give it. They add value to conversations. They encourage others. They support dreams. They help people think bigger. They understand that powerful networks are not built on selfishness, but on mutual growth and contribution. Your relationships are either lifting you or limiting you. They are either fueling your future or feeding your fears. They are either stretching your potential or shrinking your dreams. So ask yourself honestly, who am I learning from? Who inspires me? Who challenges me to be better? Who believes in growth the way I do? If your environment does not match your destiny, change the environment, not the destiny. Surround yourself with thinkers, builders, dreamers, doers, believers, and disciplined minds. Because when you walk with people who are moving forward, life will not let you stand still. Your circle is not just around you, it is inside you. Choose it wisely and your life will rise with it. There is a powerful truth about life and success that cannot be ignored. Every person who rises high has walked through difficulty, disappointment, and seasons of struggle. Ultra-successful people are not people who avoided pain. They are people who learned how to transform it. They have faced rejection, failure, humiliation, doubt, fear, and uncertainty, yet they did not break. Instead, they turned those experiences into strength. Pain is a reality of life. You cannot escape it. You will either experience the pain of discipline, growth, and perseverance, or the pain of regret, failure, and wasted potential. The difference between average lives and extraordinary ones is not whether pain existed, it is what was done with it. Some people allow pain to harden their hearts. They stop trying, they stop believing, they stop dreaming. They begin to say, maybe success is not for me. Maybe I am not capable. Maybe life has chosen something else for me. Their philosophy breaks, their spirit weakens. But ultra-successful people think differently. When pain arrives, they ask, what is this trying to teach me? How can this make me stronger? What can I build from this? They convert pain into wisdom. Every difficult season becomes a classroom. Every failure becomes feedback. Every rejection becomes redirection. Instead of taking setbacks personally, they take them professionally as information, as instruction, as guidance on what needs to change, improve, or evolve. They also understand that failure is not a verdict, it is a teacher. Failure does not mean stop. It simply means just. Many people quit at the first sign of difficulty, thinking struggle means they are not capable. Ultra-successful people recognize struggle as part of the journey. No great achievement was ever built without resistance. Rejection plays a similar role. When the world says no, some people shrink. Ultra-successful people pause, evaluate, and continue. Rejection does not weaken them, it refocuses them. Sometimes rejection protects you from paths that were not meant for you. Sometimes it redirects you towards something bigger, smarter, or better aligned with your true potential. Pain also builds character. It strengthens resilience. It teaches patience, humility, emotional maturity, and appreciation. Individuals who never experience difficulty rarely develop depth. Champions carry scars, but those scars represent survival, learning, and transformation. Another powerful aspect is emotional control. Pain can trigger anger, fear, frustration, or self-doubt. Ultra-successful people learn to manage emotions instead of letting emotions manage them. They may feel discouraged, but they do not live discouraged. They may feel fear, but they do not obey fear. They may feel disappointment, but they do not allow it to define their identity. They also surround pain with purpose. When you know why you are fighting, pain becomes more bearable. When your dream is strong enough, difficulty becomes fuel instead of an obstacle. Purpose turns struggle into strategy. Turning pain into power also builds inspiration for others. Many successful individuals later become leaders, mentors, or voices of encouragement, not because life was easy for them, but because they overcame what others thought would destroy them. Their resilience becomes a roadmap for those still struggling. So when life becomes difficult, and it will, you have a choice. You can allow pain to break you, or you can allow it to build you. You can allow rejection to silence you, or you can allow it to refine you. You can let failure define you, or you can let it develop you. Ultra-successful people choose the latter. They decide that nothing which happens to them will be wasted. Every hard experience will contribute to growth. Every setback will increase strength. Every painful chapter will make the story more powerful. Pain is not the enemy. Quitting is. If you are willing to turn struggle into strategy, wounds into wisdom, and pain into power, life cannot stop you, because everything meant to break you will end up building you. One of the greatest distinctions between ordinary success and extraordinary success is this: ultra-successful people never stop growing. They do not reach a level of achievement and then relax into comfort. They do not build a little success and decide it is enough. Instead, they make growth a lifelong commitment, mentally, emotionally, financially, and spiritually. For them, improvement is not a phase, it is a permanent lifestyle. They understand a profound truth. The world is constantly changing, knowledge is evolving, opportunities are shifting, challenges are transforming, and only those who continue to grow can continue to rise. The moment growth stops, decline begins, not always visibly, but silently, internally, and gradually. Ultra-successful people see themselves as a work in progress. They live with humility, knowing that no matter how much they achieve, there is always more to learn, more to refine, and more to become. They do not measure themselves by how far they have come, but by how much more potential remains ahead. Mentally, they feed their minds deliberately. They read, they study, they listen, they learn from experience, mentors, books, failures, and observation. They challenge their thinking. They stretch their perspective. They do not allow ignorance to control their future. They recognize that their mind is the engine of their life, and the stronger, sharper, and wiser that engine becomes, the further they can travel. Emotionally, they grow in maturity and resilience. They learn to manage stress instead of being destroyed by it. They develop emotional intelligence, the ability to understand themselves and others. They learn patience, discipline, empathy, and self-control. They grow past insecurity. They refuse to live chained to anger, fear, jealousy, or bitterness. Emotional growth gives them stability, and stability gives them power. Financially, they treat money as a tool, not a master. They learn how it works. They respect it. They manage it with discipline. They invest in their future. They strive not only to earn money, but to grow in financial wisdom, understanding value creation, responsibility, and stewardship. Wealth to them is not merely accumulation. It is capability, opportunity, and freedom earned through responsibility and knowledge. Spiritually, they nurture their inner world, their values, purpose, and meaning. They do not chase success at the cost of their character. They understand that true success is not only about what I have, but also who I am becoming. They strengthen faith, gratitude, morality, and integrity. They build purpose-driven lives rather than hollow achievements. When challenges come, this spiritual grounding keeps them anchored instead of lost. Another defining characteristic is consistency. Growth for them is not seasonal enthusiasm. It is not a short burst of motivation that fades. It is disciplined, steady, intentional commitment. A little growth daily becomes massive transformation over time. They also evaluate themselves regularly. They reflect. They ask where they improved and where they need to improve. They are honest with their weaknesses and courageous in addressing them. They do not hide from flaws. They work on them. And perhaps most importantly, they do not compare their growth to others. They compete with their previous selves. They strive to become better than they were yesterday. Comparison creates insecurity. Self-improvement creates mastery. Lifelong growth also gives them something priceless: relevance. Many people become outdated not because the world rejected them, but because they stopped evolving. Ultra successful people remain valuable because they remain teachable. When you commit to growth, life changes, confidence rises, opportunities appear, capacity expands, perspective deepens, you become more capable, more prepared, more disciplined, and more powerful. So ask yourself, am I growing mentally? Am I maturing emotionally? Am I becoming wiser financially? Am I strengthening spiritually? If growth becomes your lifestyle, success will not just visit you, it will live with you. Because the greatest success is not only in what you achieve, it is in who you continually become.